We're joined from Cairo by the International Relations Specialist, Dr. Mohamed Osman. Welcome to Q News, Dr. Osman, and let me begin by asking you, how do you see the Israeli reports regarding Tel Aviv's plans to remain in Lebanese territory after the ceasefire period ends?
Thank you, Hannah, for having me. Of course, Israel's announcement or hinting, leaking information that they might stay deployed, their troops might stay deployed in southern Lebanon beyond the 60-day period stipulated by the ceasefire agreement, is basically comes in line with their continued evasive philosophy concerning the application of and implementation of all of the political settlements they have been engaged in the past. And of course, Israel hinting that they would stay beyond the 60-day period basically comes also in line with previous reports of Israeli plans to establish a buffer zone inside southern Lebanon way before the war even started. In the initial stages when it was a cross-border war, before it evolved or it escalated into a full-scale war. So now the Israelis are hinting that they might stay beyond that period. They are expanding their presence in the areas they occupied in southern Lebanon. And of course, it remains to be seen how will the international community respond, especially the five-member committee that is supposed to monitor the ceasefire, which includes among its membership the United States and France, Britain, and Germany, and the United Nations.
Dr. Osman, how do you view the continued Israeli incursions into Lebanese territory in recent days? Do you think that this is an attempt to change the status quo and impose a new reality on the ground?
Yes, of course it is. It comes in basically in tandem with what you were just saying about Israel's evasive approach to politics in general, and their expansionist credo as well. They seek to establish a permanent foothold inside southern Lebanon, it seems. And of course, this coincides with their expansion in Gaza and their expansion in Syria. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Israelis try to expand the territories they have already taken possession of inside southern Lebanon. They are actually the Israelis seem to misunderstand the notion of a ceasefire. Since the ceasefire started on the 26th of November, the Israelis, instead of withdrawing in accordance with the plan, have actually advanced further in southern Lebanon, taking advantage of the ceasefire and acquiring lands that they could not capture through combat. So this is farcical, to be honest. However, this does not surprise us. So the Israelis are trying to impose this new reality. And not only are they occupying more areas in southern Lebanon, they are actively demolishing the infrastructure and tens, if not hundreds, of housing units, and they are destroying roads and basic infrastructure. So basically, and of course, that also in addition to violations and airstrikes and against Hezbollah targets and even against civilians. So it seems that the Israelis have a very convoluted understanding of the notion of a ceasefire, unfortunately. However, it does come within the Israeli policy of expansionism and changing realities on the ground.
So all of this is going on while the international community is keeping a blind eye on what's happening. Why hasn't the international community acted yet to remove Israel from Lebanese territory, to take any action?
All because of how the United States basically immunizes all of Israel's actions. The United States provides unlimited political cover for Israel, according to them some sort of impunity that they will not be held accountable for any violation they commit. And even though the United States is the key mediator and that brokered the ceasefire agreement inside Lebanon and was one of the main driving forces behind Resolution 1701 in 2006, which this settlement is or this agreement is based upon, yet they are not taking any steps in order to act as an actual guarantor or to compel the Israelis to abide by the agreement. So that's the problem. And they had the committee on the ground, and it doesn't seem that they are taking any overt or vocal action against Israel. And this is basically emboldening Israel further. And as for the rest of the international community, because of the U.S. political cover, they are basically helpless. They cannot do anything about it. France has released some statements, and some other European countries have released some statements, but they are meaningless and ineffective, to be honest, as long as Israel provides this kind of support to the United States provide this kind of support to Israel.
Mm-hmm. You were just telling me, Dr. Osman, that Israel sees the opportunity of the ceasefire to actually gain more land. Do you think that Hezbollah did the same and sees the opportunity to regroup? Do you expect Hezbollah to launch any new attacks against Israel in response to Israeli violations of the ceasefire in Lebanon?
To be honest, the chances of Hezbollah reigniting this conflict are quite slim. Hezbollah is right now in no shape to engage in an open war or a second round of warfare against Israel. In the first round of the war, they got beat up pretty bad, let's be honest. Their capabilities have been diminished. Their entire leadership has been eliminated or assassinated. And of course, with the fall of the regime of President Assad in Syria, the land bridge between Iran and Lebanon, or Iran and Hezbollah, had been severed. So now they are in a very, very dire situation. I do not think that they will take the initiative and restart hostilities. And even today, Hezbollah, just a few minutes ago, announced new leaders, the names of new leadership, of members of the new leadership, which means that they are committed to the ceasefire and that they are not willing to go back into open hostilities. However, the Israelis might be willing to actually do that and might provoke Hezbollah and leave them no other choice but to respond to further Israeli violations, especially if they stay inside Lebanon after the 60-day time period expires. Then, unfortunately, Lebanon is at risk of descending into another round of war that might even be more destructive.
Yes. That was the International Relations Specialist, Dr. Mohamed Osman. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your insights.